Welcome.
Not yet, honey.
Really?
Oh,
It's
wait.
gonna pass the
Okay,
turn.
okay.
Welcome to
another episode
of
Driving to the
Reds.
Reds. It's your favorite hosts,
With
Inelia
and
Larry.
Woo!
Hi, guys.
Hi, we're back. We're back.
We did a clap, and PB was very unhappy with the clapping.
Yeah, she was.
It was some kind of a sound test, I think we were
Yeah.
doing. It's a new
I think
thing.
it's to align our audio recording with our video recording. So...
Oh, there was a purpose to it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
PB is
so
not impressed.
She's not impressed.
She looks ridiculous.
She's not impressed. She's not impressed. She's not impressed.
She's having one of those hair days.
Yeah, she's got a hair day today.
You could see her on the video. She's cute, but she's also having a hair day.
Yeah, yeah.
Speaking of hair days, I woke up with a hair day too.
You did?
Yeah, I can't wake up.
Yeah, you do look a little bit sleepy on the video. Me too. Like.
Yeah, we're not asleep, but we're also not woke either.
We're definitely not woke.
Oh man, that reminds me of the Scotland Yard apology we were watching this morning.
Oh yeah, the Scottish something apology.
Yeah, the police chief.
It's a spiff. It's a
Spoof.
joke. Spoof. Yeah, it's a spoof.
Yeah, I'll put the.
I bet it's related to something that happened in the media in the UK.
Probably.
I bet it is because it was funny.
I'll put a link in our Telegram channel.
Yeah.
So if you don't know where that is,
Telegram.
it's on Telegram.
Yes.
What is it even called? Talk with me now, or Inelia Benz public chat?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, the Inelia Benz public chat. Yeah, you go to the Inelia Benz channel and then you press on comment, and it asks you to join a group, and that's where you can read all the comments on the actual posts that I put in.
Okay.
Yeah, you can put it there.
All right, I'll put it there. It's quite funny.
Yeah.
Anyways, we did have a topic I was interested in this morning.
You were?
Remember I talked about it with you last night in the truck, and we pretty much talked for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
On our drive to the Hill House, which only takes 10 minutes.
Yes.
Or 15.
Yeah. What was it about? Do you remember?
Oh, yes, I remember.
Oh, brilliant. I don't. What did we talk about?
Skipping to the end.
Skipping to the end. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Can you explain it?
Sure.
So people know what the context is.
Well, the context is, it came up in actually a conversation I was having with Instant Manifestation Workshop.
Alumni?
Not alumni, it was Facilitators Hangout Group.
Oh, okay.
Gosh, we've really got to come up with a better name.
I know. There's a lot of groups too. The facilitators,
facilitators for the Instant Manifestations workshops
at ibensacademy.com.
Or at ibensacademy.com. We continue our relationship, as do the Instant Manifestation Workshop participants, which also needs another alumni. Yeah. It also needs another word.
Yeah. Well, they can figure it out.
You'd think they could instantly manifest I think we came up with whales.
And that is what we were talking about, instant manifestation. And you said, why don't we go to the end rather than have to have the whole...
Yeah, skip to the end.
Yeah,
that's the whole...
I want $1 trillion. Boom, right there. I got it.
Right. Where's it?
I want Ferrari. I got it.
Skip to the end. Let's
just
have
world
a Ferrari.
Peace.
For everyone.
It is.
For everyone.
Well, that's black magic. You can't do that.
Who agrees?
The violation.
For everyone who agrees.
Yes.
Okay.
Violation of free will. You can't do stuff on others that, you have to put in the whomever wants it also. Boom. There.
Yeah.
Done.
The reason that you have to do the whomever wants it also is because one's black magic and one thing or other. We don't do that.
Right.
Why don't we do black magic? It seems like it'd be a lot less trouble. Just impose my will upon, and I'll be careful that my will is perfect.
You go ahead and join the Light Dark Paradigm Dark Workers, and you can have that.
And you can find out why you don't do that.
Yeah.
Well, why don't you do that?
Because
that's a good question.
Because others then have the power to do it to you.
Oh, it's a two-way street. It's not just one way.
Yes.
So, in a sense, though, they do trick us.
It's a rules of engagement.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Well, It's a legitimate question.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't I impose my high frequency will on
people who don't want it?
Everyone, whether or not they want it, because I don't want low frequency and light dark people interfering with my experience. There's a good way. That's a good question.
That's why we're having a split, because many light workers are tired of their choices being violated by our agreement to have a light dark paradigm on Earth. So now we're going back to our natural state, which is a high frequency state, and saying bye-bye to all those people who want to continue having a power over others game, where wills of others are imposed on people unconsciously, usually.
Well, mostly, yeah.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes we say, well, I didn't agree to that, but in effect we did.
Yeah, through fear, usually.
Through unconscious methods, usually. And through manipulations, usually.
Yeah.
Through manipulations.
Manipulation is
which
usually...
manipulation is part and parcel of...
Programs.
Well, it's also part and parcel of light-dark experience.
Yeah. Well, let's just say this. Manipulation, the word comes from manos, which is your hands, and manipulating something is you use your hands to do something, right? And so it's like you on your own will, free will or whatever, you change something. But when you say you're manipulating another person, it means you are changing that person to your own will. Mm-hmm. But there has to be a willingness of that other person to be changed by you. And that's why the whole victim-aggressor stuff falls like that, because there are no real victims. People agree to it. Now, when people say, well, what about a newborn baby who's being abused? I mean, they don't have a choice. So it's about the expanded being. We are all divine eternal beings, even when you're born. But also, if a person is deeply stuck in their reality construct that they chose in between lives or whenever, they actually don't have the power or ability or skill to get out of it. So it's like they're inside a looping video recorder or video, it's like it loops into the same stories over and over again, when in fact they can just press stop and step away from the screen. So one of the things that I've done when I see people, especially young people or babies who are stuck in a victim-aggressor cycle, I go and I, in ways that they can understand, tell them, you don't have to have this experience anymore. We're stepping into the split. We're stepping into empowered reality. You can choose that. But also, if you do want to have that type of experience, you're not allowed actually to have it on Earth anymore. So you need to choose somewhere else. And a lot of the time, these people step out of that victim dynamic and really have empowered lives. Really have empowered lives. They don't let that disable them. They don't allow that to be a defining factor for themselves. I've met and I worked with many people, and personally, I came from a very, very highly abusive situation at home when I was little and as a young adult. And I never stepped into the victim part. I just didn't know any better. I thought all reality was like that. And that's part of it. It's like somebody steps up and says, hey, that's not how things are supposed to function here. That you can't have something else. You go, oh, really? Oh, I thought this is Earth. I thought all Earth functioned this way. I thought this is the reality we stepped into. No. You can have this other thing instead. Ooh, yes, I'll have some of that, please. Right? So that was my personal experience. And it's about how did other people's will impose on mine? Because lack of street smarts, right? I didn't know there was anything different. I didn't know there was other choices. So they were able to impose their aggression and victimhood on me. So once you learn that you're in a program, you do have the power to step out of it. But there's many people who don't know they're in a program of those parameters. And that's why we do the work we do, to make people conscious and aware, and then they can become the manipulators of their own life and not somebody else doing that for them.
Sort of like you're in it, and then you go step outside a little bit. It looks like, oh, there's other things
yeah,
here.
Exactly.
Oh, okay, how about that?
Yes.
And then they can go in there and totally become absorbed in that if they want to.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's how it functions. And that's why, having your will imposed on everybody on the planet is not part of this rules of engagement, not part of the high frequency rules of engagement. And that's why there's a split, because that wants to continue, right?
Yeah, and I think it's almost like a misnomer to consider it my will imposed on everyone, or someone else's will imposed on everyone, or someone else's will controlling everyone, because the rules of engagement require agreement.
Exactly,
right?
yes.
So, in effect, no one's free will is violated.
Not really, no.
But and technically nobody's free will is violated.
Mm-hmm.
But in experience, many people's free will feels like it's violated, right?
Yeah.
Because in part, in total, the reason is the immersion in that experience is so deep that don't even see that they do have choice.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, something like that. Mm-hmm. So while it isn't outside their agreement, they don't know they agreed. Kind of like
Not
that.
consciously.
They don't consciously
right.
know they agreed. I think that's part of the experience. Part of the thing that is interesting when we talk about incarnating in this world, this experience, this rules of engagement set of stuff. Mm-hmm. You don't know a lot of things so that you can have the experience.
Yeah.
But through that process, you also open yourself up to, I guess, agreeing to things that you probably wouldn't have agreed to from a different state of awareness.
Yeah.
Which is why embodiment in the split, especially, I think, in the split part, the little quote we read with Rasha from the Buddhist book, where you're embodiment of who you are, also your higher self, which is divine will, simultaneously. So you are who you are and your divine will. You are your incarnated now state of being plus the other one combined together, in a sense, sort of multidimensionally beingness. But she uses a lot of tough words to digest. So could you translate that to
everything I've been teaching for the past 12 years?
Yeah, all the stuff you've been teaching for the last 10 or 12 years.
So basically, I talk about Ascension as expansion of awareness.
Right. Well, that's a lot easier to say than embodiment of your ultimate, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But
so your expansion of
your
awareness.
awareness.
Yeah. Okay. And you choose how much you want to expand your awareness. And part of that is also being the human collective. So you are the human collective. You are yourself. You are your higher self, which to me is your expanded awareness self, right? The one that has the awareness and memories and knowledge of everything that you've ever experienced in your entire existence, which is forever, eternal, right? Eternal divine being. And so you can choose where you are, but at no time do you lose who you are now, right? And you don't, but sometimes you have the perception of who you were in previous lifetimes, for example, or who you are at expanded awareness, many timelines, for example. So it's different levels of you being yourself, and it's your choice what level of awareness you can go to, and it's your agreement. But also, we have placed as a play, like the board that we're playing on, the three-dimensional physical world. And I don't mean three-dimensional as lower dimensions and the fifth dimension, 10th. No, I'm talking about physicality. Like, this is an object, a three-dimensional object. This is what I mean by 3D world, okay?
Okay.
And you can, when you step into having an experience in this world, you stepped into an agreement with your physical body elemental to become a one joint venture, as it were.
Yeah.
And when you do that, you have to abide by the rules of engagements that we have here.
Otherwise, these
Right.
glasses won't stay here.
No, they kind of vanish into
And the everythingness.
and they disappear. You know.
I was like, where did my glasses go? What are glasses?
And ding!
Why do I even have glasses? Actually, I don't need glasses.
There you go. So the journey going right to the end, that's when things get complicated, because it's almost like when people really enjoy a game, right? Mm-hmm. They really enjoy a game, and they get the cheat codes for the game.
Oh my god!
Right?
Yeah.
What happens to that game?
I played this snowboarding game, and it was the best game ever. And I was getting all these rewards for going fast, rewards for doing a spin, rewards for doing the whole thing and not falling down. And it's just like I kept on getting more of these little perks, and then I get a better snowboard. Then I go again, I go faster, and I get another ding-a-ling-ling. Yeah. And every time I got a fast, I got to go ding-a-ling-ling. And I've been raised in school, so when I hear ding-a-ling-ling, it's like, oh, break time. So it connects to my reward center, and I go like, oh, I love this game. And then I was on a bulletin board or something, and somebody said, hey, I found a cheat code for SSX Tricky. It's for the game developers when they were making the game. They wanted to, try out all the places and look for the bugs and all that. Yeah. But if you put in this code,
you get everything.
You never die, and you have everything, and anything and everything is open to you. Yeah. You don't have to reach anything.
Yeah.
And that was fun for about maybe 15, 20 minutes. And then it was ruined. Over. The entire game was ruined because I could no longer even go back to I have to earn something. Yeah. Because even that wasn't it didn't have its reward anymore because
you had everything already.
I skipped to the end and had everything. I almost had everything already, but the skipping to the end basically destroyed the experience.
Yeah.
Because it's not as fun to, start off with a newbie and then learn how to go down the bunny hill and do a good time and then get another board. Just the whole journey lost its appeal.
Exactly.
Actually.
Yeah.
I'm not sure why, but it did. Yeah. And it tells you something.
What does it tell you?
It tells me a few things. It's like the reason that we have amnesia is so that we can do this game that we want to enjoy multiple times and have it mean something. Yeah. Mean enough to actually engage ourselves into it.
Right, engaging into it. And it reminds me also of a situation yesterday when we were talking about Daniela and her family coming up on their RV. And you said, why don't they just take the car and use our RV when they get here? So that they skip to the end, right?
Yeah.
And I kept saying,
save all that gas, save all that time, save all that effort and cleaning and hooking up and truck and gas and gas.
Yeah. And it was like, no, because it's the journey.
Yeah.
Right? It's about the journey. It's about the adventure. And it's not just coming up here, but the adventure going back as well. Like exploring new places, staying in campgrounds, meeting new people. That is a different experience than just skipping over to the end. You're here, right?
Radically different.
And then boom, then you're there back home, right? So that's a very similar thing. And it reminds me also, when I was 12, my mom figured out that I was able to facilitate healing in people. I've talked about this in other locations, and she decided that she was going to start bringing sick people to the house so that I could facilitate their healing. And I remember I figured it out eventually and I put a stop to it. But I remember 2 or 3 times that people came and it was really easy. I would see these.
Pause it for a second if you don't mind.
Pause it?
Not that. Oh. You recognized she was doing that to you. She was doing it for her reasons.
Yeah.
And
egoic,
she wasn't. Oh yeah, she wanted to be special.
Yeah.
and
And
gain
she was getting
status in
money.
the community. Out and getting
and
money.
she didn't give it to me.
And didn't give it to you. And you figured it out and put a stop to it.
Yeah.
Some people will see that and hear that and say, well, why would you stop healing people? That seems mean.
Well, because I was 12 and my emotional and mental body weren't mature. And the stuff that people were bringing to me were extremely horrible, traumatic things.
Right.
And if I had stayed in that journey, when I figured it out and I looked at the timeline, I was going to be dead by 14 because my bodies couldn't handle it. I wasn't mature enough. I wasn't strong enough physically or emotionally strong or mentally strong.
Plus probably off track.
Totally off track, yeah. I wasn't meant to be doing that. Anyways, going back to the story, one of the things I noticed was that somebody would come in and they had a situation, like an illness or even a mental trauma or something like that. And to me, it was very easy because I would see them a little bit like you see the Matrix, but not with the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
I would see like dots of colors and shades and things, and you could tell when a place was out of sync, like it wasn't in tune with the rest. So all you did was clink, 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 and it was in tune and off they went, And what I noticed was that more than one person came back less than a month later, and they had the same type of dissonant patch, but in another place of their body.
Mm.
And I was looking at them, and I would also tell them what to do so they wouldn't get that anymore. It was, I don't remember any examples, it was a long time ago, but it was like, step away from your abusive relationship or whatever, or stop eating blah 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 whatever, so start eating blah blah whatever, and they wouldn't do it. So I said, oh no, I'm fixed now. So they'd go home and they'd come back with another ailment, and it was the pattern behind it was the same one. And I said, well, did you do blah blah blah? And they said no. Oh, I forgot, I meant to. Yeah, I should have. And all these answers, right? But they never did. And then it's like, oh, so I wouldn't clink, do the whole thing again, and they'd go away and it'd be fine. And then they'd come back with another one. And it's like, no. And that's when I started, wait, why do they keep coming back and asking me the same questions? And they were really clever. My mom was very clever. She was actually a genius, like registered genius. And I used to come home from school, and usually, she'd be asleep or whatever. But these times, she would have my favorite show on in the living room and a cup of tea with biscuits, or cookies as they call them in the US. Tea and biscuits. And I'm like, and she would go ahead, what's your favorite show? And here's some cookies and tea. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. Okay, that's really nice. I'll take this. And you have to understand that my mom was an abusive parent, right? So at the time. She did outgrow it and evolved, but at the time she was actually an abusive parent. And so for me it was like, I'll take it, it's like, this is nice. And she said, yeah, I've got some friends coming. I'll send them up, they can wait with you while I cook dinner or whatever, right? Because the living room's upstairs. So I'm like, okay, I'll sit down. So I'm watching my shows and I'm eating my cookies. And then suddenly there'll be a person sitting next to me. And I'd look at them and say, hello, it's a nice show. Yeah. And then they start having this conversation and telling me all their woes. And
right in the middle of your show, too.
Yeah. And I was 12. I mean, this is a little kid, right? So a little kid being told about torture and rape and, abuse, or the nasty things of their illness, what happens to them, and impotence. And I didn't even know that men got erections. Why would I know about impotence, So that was not good.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm talking about. It was nasty, nitty-gritty stuff. But also the energetic hit on my physical body took its toll. I started getting unwell, right? So that was the dynamics of it. And for me, it was like the reach to the end was wrong. right? It's the reach to the end was not what it was about. Since after that, I told my mom, don't ever
Skip
bring
to the
anybody.
end. Skip to the end, yeah.
Skip to the end.
It's like you're healed.
Yeah. Did not work. And then I told my mom, listen, do not bring me anybody else. You're not allowed, and this and this and the other. And then we had a dynamic there of, trying to push her will on top on me, and it didn't work. Years later, there were other individuals and situations where the reaching the end was me, a choreography of an orchestration and a choreography of me arriving in the same place as they were, right? So that was the end of their journey. And the end of their journey wasn't meant to be death, right? So that was a different journey to go like that, you're at the end, right? And from those people, because I met quite a few people in our events, and I would know, and I would be pre-warned about them. So I would see their visuals, and when this person comes in, this is what's going to happen, facilitate a healing. Great, no problem, right? But
that's
it was
like human collective level orchestration.
Yes, human collective level orchestration. That was the end of their journey of that particular experience. And when it happened a few times, they would go, because they would know what happened, right? And I would go, why? Because I didn't want my events to turn into a healing session. That wasn't my journey. Did I have the skill? Sure. And when a person was ready to reach that end of their healing journey, I was there. And the orchestration by the High Frequency Human Collective had done it. And it still happens randomly. Sometimes I remember when I was in the metro, a total stranger. And I went in and it was like, oh, that person's at the end of their healing journey. So I went and sat next to them. And it's like when you sit next to them in the metro, over there, it's like this, you're squished in. And it's like, boom, gone. And I got up and went somewhere else because I don't like being squished in chairs. Somebody else took the seat.
Yeah.
But even then, it was weird because the metro was full and there was a seat next to this person.
Yeah, that's serious orchestration.
Yeah, right? And as soon as it got done and I got up and left, somebody else immediately sat there.
Right.
And I was like, okay, we're done. So it's like the end of the orchestration. If you have skills that can be required of you or asked, I was never forced. Once I became aware and conscious of it. So the end part becomes unsatisfactory for the game that you came here to have. Of course you can do it. And there's millions and billions of experiences in the multiverse where you can have that. And people often talk about like the planes of existence, out of the body experiences where they go to realities that feel as solid as this one, but they go like this and they have a mansion. They go like this and they have world peace. They go like this and they have 10,000 friends. It's like that.
It's kind of like also if you go like this and now you're in that mansion, that one that you always dreamed of. Mm-hmm. Well, in the morning you go like this, get a different one and a different one and a different one. And pretty soon, guess what? Mansions are like, that's not even interesting.
That's not interesting anymore. What else can I
How
have?
many waterfall showers do I really need?
Ooh, waterfall shower.
One.
Did he appear? Someone please come over to our house and build us
a waterfall
shower for us, please. I love those.
Okay. We can put that on our instant manifestation list.
Yeah.
And that will include something called believable story.
Yeah.
And that will include
the orchestrations
that come about bringing it to be.
Because even when I said that, can somebody please come over and build us a waterfall shower at our house? Immediately there was a story around it, like somebody volunteering, coming to meet us, becoming our friends.
I even knew of a guy
I know
can
a
make
guy
that kind
who
of thing.
sings, yeah.
And
So
I have a collection and source of rainwater that I can use for powering that shower, because it'll be rainwater shower powered. Rainwater shower power.
Oh, rainwater shower powered.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's some filter systems so we don't get bugs.
Well, there will be living
Or-
water, honey.
Well, not necessarily, because we get chemtrails, so there will be a lot of heavy metals.
It's all right. I'll let the metals go to the bottom.
Okay.
We'll figure it out. Don't you worry about that.
So here's the story. Start developing immediately.
Now we're
the
enjoying and thinking about it. We're
the
enjoying
story.
the prop
And the joy of actually meeting this
find this
person or people.
There
would be interesting people to meet, right?
Who have an interest in that kind of an idea and know how to do this and are interested in doing it and sharing the time and the meals.
Yeah.
Because I enjoy feeding and they would enjoy building, and I'm not so much in the heavy lifting building.
Right.
Like I love that, but I do like the watching
people do it while you cook.
My favorite TV show is I look out the window and watch people working. Then bring them food.
Yeah. And enjoy their faces and go,
Yeah. So you could see as we, explore this whole idea thing that the skip it to the end part, while it might give us a little bit of instant gratification, probably, I think that more likely there will be, okay, not exactly, this is too short, go higher, no, needs more water, and that's too much water, needs colder water. It's like, so the attention is on the detail and the specific, and there is none of the connection with the human collective and the reason you're here. Only skipping to the end of the thing that I wanted.
Right.
Which eliminates one, if not the main purpose for being here, is connection.
Connection, yeah.
Right. And so then we're just like, okay, well, how about if it's not a thing? How about if it's a connection? I want to skip to the end and have the perfect connection with a perfect being in all which ways. How about that? Well, you got that, but...
What do you mean?
Me. Geez, some people. Oh my goodness.
But our journeys to get to that connection was pretty long.
Well, it certainly was, and it wasn't necessarily all disaster after disaster. There was certainly enjoyment and fulfillment and pleasure and all the other things in the journey.
Yeah.
And I'm sure one of the things that I saw when I was young was you, but I guess I couldn't get there. And you saw me, but I didn't show up.
Right.
Kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And how might things have been different? I don't know. Look at that timeline. What do you see?
Lots of kids.
Lots of kids. So
about 12 of them. Lots
of life of kids.
We had about 12 children in that timeline. Yes, lots of children.
But that wasn't a skip to the end. That was there's multiple ways to get here, and that was one of the ways.
Yes.
Maybe if I had, I don't know, because I remember the minute, the day, and the time, and the decision I had in my head, and my mouth said, I don't care if I don't get this scholarship, I'm going anyway. But I couldn't get there because I had this disconnect between me and money.
Yes.
I was like, damn it. Why did I even say that? And I knew when I said that, I think I might have been saying the wrong thing because I was trying to get there through a scholarship with a Rotary Club or one of those kind of things where they send exchange students to go.
Right.
I was trying to be an exchange student. One of the questions was about whether you would go, whether or not they helped you. And I answered because I wanted them to know how sincere and serious I was. But they said, well, he's going anyway, so we don't need to pay for him.
Yeah.
This one, he ain't going, so. Yeah. I forgot to tap into who they were.
Exactly, yeah.
Which was, I'm here and I want to help someone who can't.
Exactly, yeah.
So I ended up
not going.
saying the wrong word in the way, which sent me on a different. Yeah. Different.
Yeah. The
But-
journey.
It's a journey.
It's fun. So when we do learn to be street smart about what we're creating, we take into consideration the journey, right? For ourselves and others, our co-creators. And when we do make a decision, and there's tools and things we use, when we do make that decision, then we start perceiving everything that has stopped us from achieving that goal or that thing. And that's what we train in the instant manifestation workshop. It's all about, rather than passively going on like somebody else's journey, trying to figure out what we want and then seeing what they offer us or the human collective offer us or whatever through our own programming, we perceive the programming and go, wait, this programming that I'm carrying is not conducive to what I want. So I'm going to tweak it, remove it, or change it, and then I'll get what I want, right? And so my question really, at this point, what becomes curious to me, is why do people want stuff? Why do people want experience? Can you tell me?
What do they want to skip to the end, or what do they want the experience to get to there?
Either
one?
Yeah.
Well, again, there's the forgetting the divine, eternal everything, the all of everything, the oneness, and all of those things, all of that state of completion is separated, because we're in separation.
Mm-hmm.
From separation, there's a draw back to complete. To get to complete goes through experience. Experience draws bigger something, which is the understood path to connection again. So from separation, you want connection. If you're all connection, then apparently what you want to do is go experience separation. Right? I think that might be a tendency to want what you don't have.
Yeah.
So those are the things that come.
Yeah.
And in the sense that it's a harmless experience, harmless in that, do you want to go see what you don't have? Okay. From that level of engagement, it's interesting. Let's go see that. And then from the engagement of in it, it's like, yeah, that's spicy, I guess. I think I had enough spicy. I think I would rather get back to connection from separation. And so it's like this back in, it's a sort of like a wave, in a way, back together, in a way, back together. Kind of feels like the path of coming closer, going away, coming closer, going away. So it feels like the manifestation of a wave in a sense. That's why I think that is. Some states of the wave, you want more separation. Some states of the wave, you want less separation. Some states of the wave, you're at ultimate separation. And other states of the wave, you're at ultimate connection.
Which reminds me.
Okay.
We have a class about that called the illusion of separation. Or it's the Lightworker's Guide to the Illusion of Separation.
Which is renamed because I think our name was poorly chosen.
Yeah, we chose a poor name before. We called it How the Illusion of Separation is Used to Exploit You.
Yeah, that's kind of
And people didn't like that because we're being metagamed.
Yeah, they were like, I'm not getting exploited. Who are you imposing your exploitation upon me?
How dare you?
How dare you?
How dare you?
That's not me.
No. So we changed the name because actually the information in it is very, very, very useful for everybody. And not just for yourself, but also in the way you treat others. So make sure that you're making sure that you're not exploiting them. So, yeah, go for it. The illusion of separation. So, I see that.
So,
like
zooming
that's
back in, why? For the reward. The reward of the thing.
Mm-hmm. The ding, ding, ding,
The ding, 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 the
You
pleasure, your
You get a
emotion
new
body
board.
gets a yappy, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And in order for it to get its pleasure, bling, bling, it's happy, it needs to have the other that's no longer there.
Mm.
Sometimes that, or the continuation of or the XYZ. All of the things that are in the all of the things that we've come to experience played out, So I want to experience in this life power, and explore power and how power is, what is power in this realm. So let's have many experiences of power. Powerless, powerful, giving power, taking power, all the power stuff.
Yeah.
And maybe one life's enough, maybe 16, maybe 60.
And then power over others.
Power others.
Power of ability to do.
Some of these are themes, right? And
high
the
frequency
themes,
power use, low frequency power use. Yeah.
And the themes are in alignment with the human collective in this space also wanting that. Let's have an experience of power, for example. Let's have an experience of power giving it away. Let's have an experience of XYZ. And so why do we want to get our trailer and drag it all the way up here and have the experience of the journey instead of just get there? Because we don't want to skip to the end. We want the journey,
the connection with others,
all
the connection with Gaia,
all of that,
different locations, and what you can explore in the different locations and connect in different locations. And
how it matches our theme of experience for this world and this time and this place.
And connecting with each other as a family. And
mostly nobody came here because they didn't want to be here.
Exactly. Now that's really good to remember.
Yes.
Right? You didn't get here on Earth and get born and everything because you didn't want to be here. So for people who say, I'm done and I want to leave and blah, 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 I'm never coming back. Remember that. That's just this empowerment program that's been propagated on Earth. So that you leave and the light of the planet diminishes. Right? Yeah.
I don't think that's why you came.
No, you
to diminish the light. You didn't come here to diminish the light.
No. You came here to shine your light and make it lighter. So.
Right. Now your street smarts might have got, tampered with.
Yes.
On your time Definitely. You're here, which is what brings you to that I'm out of here and I don't want to be here ever again.
Yeah.
But if you educate your street smarties, then you will pull yourself into where you were here more ably.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's a little easier to be light shiny when you're able.
Yes.
It's definitely harder when you're beat up and smashed and can't eat. Survival is like turned on to 9.
Yeah, that's harder.
Which reminds me, when survival and those kind of things are turned on to 9, when we believe our survival is up to someone else, believe our survival and our thrival is based on what other people are doing to us, things like that. That is Street Smart 101 method to diminish your lights. Get me out of here.
Yeah.
And when you are embodying the get me out of here's strongly enough, you can be.
Yeah. That's very true.
That's how you do.
Yeah.
That's how you diminish the light on this planet.
Right. And one of the things is that your survival depends on you solely, and that's one of the illusions. And one of the street smarts is actually it doesn't. You gather with others of your frequency, and everything becomes lighter. Everything becomes easier, and you're not longer in a survival mode, but in a thriving and enjoying and loving life mode.
Yeah, that's the idea behind finding your tribe as I've heard it said that way now, lots and lots and lots of places.
Doesn't mean you're going to die if you don't. It means it's going to be a lot harder. That's it. That's it. If you to move out of the city, it's going to be easier on you because you're a high frequency sensitive being. If you stay in the city, it's going to be harder. It doesn't mean you're going to fall, You could, but it doesn't. Right?
Doesn't mean you have to.
No. Or that you're going to die. You might, but it doesn't mean it's not like automatic A plus B, It's not like that. It's just going to be harder. You're making it harder for yourself. So you can either make it harder for yourself because it makes an interesting game.
Some people like what they call the hero's journey.
Yeah, they do, right?
Hero
makes
journey.
It challenging.
Woo-hoo. Make it challenging.
And some other people enjoy the inspirational game, right? Things that inspire them and wonderment of life. They prefer that one.
Yeah, it's like, do I want to have the journey of, at the end of it, I didn't die? Yes!
Yeah.
Or the journey of it, oh, look at this wonderful, interesting XYZ that I have made. Maybe it's a shower waterfall powered by rain shower power. Rain shower powered waterfall shower. And 16 lunches and 32 breakfasts and
1,000
and I didn't die.
Conversations.
And I didn't die.
And I still didn't die.
And I still didn't die. See, that's kind of the gist. That's kind of the gist of it. It's like, what's the middle part? Yeah. Duck. Or, hey, I'm here. Come on. Tribe, let's hang out.
Yeah. Interesting day today.
So skip it to the end in relationships, skip it to the end in embodiment of things and that. There's one skipping to the end, which is, I think, in alignment with the orchestrations on the planet, which is skipping to the end of embody the new paradigm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That one you can do without ill effect.
Right.
That one you can do without destroying or ruining or harming your journey.
Your journey, your game.
All you're doing is bringing your journey in alignment
to what you chose.
To what you actually chose to be here to do.
Exactly, yeah.
So that's a acceptable skip to the end.
Yeah, putting into context, there are things that you can, yes, and it won't ruin your game.
It
actually enhances your game.
It enhances your game a lot.
It enhances it a lot.
I think that's one of the top ones. Embodying the new paradigm, being that now.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell us how to do that? How do you embody a new paradigm?
Like that.
Yeah. What does it mean?
That means skip to the end.
Yeah, but what does it mean to embody the new paradigm?
Well, one of the main things that it means is what you don't do. Some of the don't do's, what you don't do is indulge in low frequency engagements. Mm-hmm. That's an example.
Uh-huh.
So when you have invitations to engage in low frequency, you don't.
Right.
You just don't.
Right. Can you give an example so people can get clear on what that means?
Oh, using English words?
Yeah.
So walking down the street and let's say a level 1 low frequency engagement occurs. Uh-huh. Somebody throws a plastic garbage out their window and then stops. And then they keep throwing their plastic garbage out the window, right in front of a garbage can.
Righteousness comes in.
Yeah, righteousness comes in because plastic, that's not nature.
Right.
So,
well, it's kind of ugly too.
Oh, it's ugly.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy who made the plastic don't think that. He thinks that is the best looking plastic he ever made.
Yeah.
And the factory that's making it thinks it's the best, highest quality plastic ever. But, we're talking about something else.
Yeah.
We're level 1 engagement. Somebody's throwing shit out the window. And we're going to go tell them what for.
Level 1 engagement.
Yeah, so this is an invitation to engage. There's an invitation to engage. Now,
so what should you do?
How do you respond to this invitation? Yeah. There's a number of ways, right?
Okay, tell me.
One of them, are going to process your righteousness or your fear, your anger, your whatever it is. Because you're probably righteous. He's ruining our planet. You're probably frustrated because it's like, there's a can right there.
Uh-huh.
You're probably upset because of XYZ. I mean, you want to have a clean, pristine environment. Well, you want one that doesn't have plastic on the ground.
Yeah.
Because it's already cement right here. Yeah. But we like clean cement.
Right.
And, anyway. focus back a little bit.
Yes.
So this person's behavior is pissed me off. And you're going to process these things. You're going to process it, which means go to ineliabenz.com. Look on the tab that says fear processing exercise. Replace the word fear for any of the other words that we were just talking about. Mm-hmm. Righteous, anger, whatever. Mm-hmm. Allow that.
Do the process. It's easy to learn.
That energy to spend itself. Uh-huh. And then at the end of that, which takes, a various amount of time, depends on you and the situation, how charged you are.
And how much practice you've had.
And how much practice you have. And even if you'd have to go to the
website and
stop and go to the website and look it up again, or whether you could just do this, or you can just embody the beingness of it. Yeah. Anyway, at the end of it, then you're going to respond in some way. Mm-hmm. Now, when I would respond in this way to this engagement after having processed, there's a couple of things that can happen. There's a new invitation. It's my invitation to engage in a high frequency way.
Right.
Instead of...
So what would you do?
Well, having processed it.
Yeah.
There's a variety of things I might do. If he's a dark worker and a demon, I'm just going to turn around and go the other way. Uh-huh. I cannot have a light, high frequency experience with him.
No, you can't.
He's not interested in it.
Nope.
And he won't engage in a high frequency way.
Even if you picked up this stuff without saying anything,
he's probably going to get mad at me.
Yeah. How dare you pick up my rubbish?
Right.
Yeah.
So it depends on that. From my processed and clean space, I'm probably going to expand a little bit and see what's on the menu. Mm-hmm. If this one is the wind blew it out and he's anti-litter and he didn't even know he did it. Mm-hmm. It just wind blew through and out it went. Mm-hmm. I could go grab it and say, wind got it, I'll toss it for you. And he'll say, oh, thanks. Appreciate it. Mm-hmm. Done.
Yep.
That's a way.
Yeah. Good job.
Thank you. How about you?
What?
Take a level 5.
What's a level 5 engagement?
Level 5 invitation. Uh-huh. A level 5 invitation to engage at a low frequency. Mm-hmm. That could be, a situation that has more power than there's a piece of plastic on the ground. Mm-hmm. Such as, let's say...
when that homeless guy was coming at me with a knife in an abandoned field.
That's more up there in 9 or so.
Okay.
Let's do 5. It's like 5 would be powerfuler because you have a relationship with the person in some way.
Okay, got it.
So let's say that person is your...
Dad.
Cousin.
Okay,
level.
Okay,
cousin level. Not like child level or parent level. That's going to be 8 or 9 or 10.
Okay, got it.
So cousin-ish. Uh-huh. You know them. You've grown up around them. You like your cousins just fine.
Yes.
And your cousin takes a whole bag of trash and dumps it out the window in the parking lot at the park of the favorite trail, your favorite trail. Mm-hmm. They're just tired of the garbage and they're just out the window. Mm-hmm. So it's same thing, except for we've included a relationship and we've included a bigger volume and we've included a favorite location of yours.
Yes.
So that moves it up to 5.
It does, yeah, definitely up to 5, yeah.
So how are you going to handle that invitation?
So how would you handle that invitation?
No more cousin.
Eliminate the cousin?
Eliminate family connections. Like, that's not my cousin.
Oh my goodness.
Well, see, the first thing I go for is reduce the emotional connection.
Ah,
right?
Got it.
I need to process the emotional connection because now it's that person is representing me. I'm connected to them through relationship. So now
everybody knows.
Everybody knows my family's a trash.
Yeah.
Right? See how it goes? It gets bigger.
Egoic, yeah.
So I'm pretty sure.
He ain't no cousin of mine.
He ain't my cousin. I tried to talk to him, but I just had to disown him. or whatever. Yeah. No, that's not well. That is a response, which is higher frequency than, getting a family feud and beating him up or calling his mom and telling on him or whatever, which is making the engagement low frequency bigger.
Yeah.
So our goal is a high frequency engagement. So this is an invitation. How do we respond
after you process
as
them,
embodying a high frequency paradigm?
So you're there,
this
ready
is the
to take
thing
your
that
hike,
I saw.
or coming back from your hike. It happens.
Yeah.
What do you do?
What do you do? Well, you're going to have to clearly process a few things. Now, these are bigger things.
Yes.
So some of these are family things. Some of these are location things. Some of these are victim. The planet's a victim things. There's a longer list.
Yeah.
You might not have enough time.
Yeah.
But you might.
Mm-hmm. And then what? How do you engage?
Well, first of all, why are you, when you're at the space where you're no longer triggered, because that's essentially where we want to get to, is we're not triggered negatively. We don't, this open door to engagement is closed.
Yeah.
It's closed because we've processed our triggers to the level where we can see a thing, understand its place in reality, and respond in a high frequency way. Okay. So in this case, after having cleared much of those things, and there's still some left, we might find that we're not equipped for it yet.
Okay.
So
we just walk away.
We can't walk away.
You have to pick up the trash first.
We're going to have to do something. We're going to have to do something. And it's like, hey, cuz, that's a big mess. What's going on?
Yeah. Are you okay?
Are you okay? What's going on?
Yeah.
You know, so is there something wrong with you? It's like,
what the hell is wrong with you?
Not that. It's like,
are you
not
okay?
feeling good? Are you mad? Did somebody step on your favorite daffodil?
Now you're going to righteousness again.
We might not say that. We're going to go from the angle of, here's an invitation. I'm here to support you in some way.
Yeah. Maybe
he's having a bad day and got kicked out of his house. And,
I don't know.
In order to make the inside feel better, make the outside match. There could be some of those going on. And maybe that's all that's going on. He might need a hey. Yeah. It's all right, cuz. Here, let me help you. I'll pick this stuff up. Let's, go have some lunch. Yeah. We'll talk about it. Yeah. So there's a way. Yeah. I mean, he has to agree. Yeah. Right? And maybe he just don't wanna. Right. But my invitation was only high frequency. His invitation was low frequency. Right. Or hers. Vice versa, whatever. I'm not picking a cousin.
Yes, you are. I know which cousin you're talking about. And there are circumstances. There are circumstances where a person only sees the low frequency stuff, and there's circumstances where another person, such as yourself, can then step out of that and perceive the larger picture, right? Yeah. So they may be stuck and another person who is in that low frequency place will only see low frequency stuff. And then you might go over and says, hey, cuz, are you okay? What's going on? It's like this, what happened? And you go, there's a freaking spider! I can't! And you just keep throwing stuff out of the car. There's a spider and I'm stuck and I can't get out. You have to help me. Yeah. You go, oh, yeah, totally not what I expected.
Totally did not read that right.
Yeah. Right. See? So they're reading that right part. But it could be, what the F, just get out of my face, it's like, I can do what I want. This is my trail too, Then what do you do, right?
Well, again, we are embodying the high frequency. Yeah. Our invitation is high frequency. Yeah. So what if all that's on the table here are low frequency choices, then you walk away. Yeah. There isn't really any other alternative. You're not going to impose high frequency on someone who's like that. Yeah. Wants that. Yeah. So when we processed our, like the planet needs clean ground or something. Mm-hmm. When we process that a little bit, and this litter looks bad to mine eyes, but to my dog it looks great.
The dogs and the crows.
Thinks it's great. The crows
like feet, the seagulls. Jeez, yeah.
And the worms and the dirt and everything else is like, what? The leaves? Oh, that's not leaves. What the hell difference does that make? And then the glacier 10,000 years ago that made it bare rocks. Like, don't worry about that too much. Yeah. It should be fine. Yeah. I'm not hooked in, right? So that's righteousness.
Right. So that's when you walk away.
Well, yeah. If all that's up for offer is a low frequency engagements, then there's nowhere there for me to go. Mm-hmm. I guess that's all you can do. Yeah. Can you think of anything else?
when a person is doing something really negative like that, and then you step in and they go for you, you're obviously the wrong target there for their anger. But if you care about the person, then what I would do is say, I can see that it looks like you're super upset right now. Come on, let's go for a walk and let's walk it off. You open the door, you help them out, then you walk, and then eventually they'll go like this, and then, oh yeah, sorry about that, So yeah, I know it's not like you, so, even though it's like him. Because sometimes you do that, and sometimes you don't. Sometimes you just walk away, and I find that sometimes I will do one, and sometimes I will do the other, depending on the situation that follows. Right. So if I perceive,
check timelines-ish. Yeah.
I check the timelines, and if I perceive that if this person stays in a state, they're going to drive this down the street super angry and run a little kid over, then I will do the second. I'll do my best to get them out of that state. Because I'm there for a reason, I'm not just there randomly. But if I see that it didn't really matter and it's just the way they are and every day they do it and it's like nothing bad's going to happen, I just walk away. It doesn't matter. Right? It's like I'm not going to engage.
It's like skipping to the ends.
Yeah.
It's not going to change.
Nothing. So, yeah. And then sometimes actually, I found people behaving in very abusive ways over and over and over because nobody brings them up to tell them you're being abusive. And if you say you're being abusive, they continue. So if you act very upset and cry and tell them they insulted you, suddenly they step back and they hear it because they're in a low frequency way. Right? You talk to them in that frequency and they finally hear you and go, oh my God, I didn't realize it. I don't want to be around upsetting people. Well, you did upset me. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. And it's like they hear it. And it's like, and then when it's over, it's like, oh my God, that was boring. And then you walk away. So it's like, each situation is very different, right?
Right. I think that's a conversation we need to put into the second hour too, which is moving it up to levels 7, 8, 9, 10. How to handle those type of invitations.
Yeah. And the
shifting your response to a way that can communicate.
Connect. Yeah.
And can communicate and connect.
Because all of those are connection. Right? Do you want to connect? Do you don't want to connect? If this doesn't matter, and if your timeline says, oh my God, this guy's going to continue abusing his son for the next 20 years, or me for the next 20 years. I don't want it, right? So I'm going to tell them, because obviously he doesn't know. He's not a bad person.
Well, one of the reasons you have Walk With Me Now, one of the reasons you have Talk With Me, one of the reasons you have your classes.
And this podcast.
Is to street smart.
Yes, to give the street smarts, yeah.
But one of the things that can happen is that you get and hear, you only hear the little bit that, I guess, affirms and fits into the program that you're packing.
Yeah.
So what you might have just heard is that it's okay to start crying and bawling and creating a big scene. That'll change people, make them better.
Yeah.
And that is not
what I just said.
What she just said. Which is why that's the kind of thing that we explore in our second hour, because you have the tools to understand it and hear it.
Yes.
And not use it to prolong the light dark game.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that if you don't have a second hour, you can't hear that. What I'm saying is that it's more likely that you're going to hear something that just prolongs
whatever reality,
the reality stuff. Yeah. So spend some time on yourself. Get yourself street smart, because if you heard that, then you need...
if you heard that it's okay to engage and have drama in your life...
in order to fix people?
That's not what I said.
Yeah. But it is what she said.
Yeah, in a way.
Yeah.
But you don't engage in it. You don't feed it. That's the difference, right? That's the difference, is that you're not feeding it. You're not feeding the beast. You're not feeding that low engagement. You have a very specific goal. And if you don't achieve that goal, what do? Right? You clean up your tears as well. I tried that. That didn't work.
Stop that.
Yeah. That didn't work. All right. let's move on. Do you want some tea? And I have been in those situations too. Yeah.
Oh man. Oh well. So yeah, we can run up the scale in second hour.
Yeah, I think so, because I mean, before we finish, another example was, for example, when I went with one of my previous husbands, I would come in. Most days I would come in and I would say, "Hey, how's your day?" And this person would go into a whole dramatic defense, right? You're always saying, blah, blah, what do you mean? You know, I did my job, blah, 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 come on, blah, 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 being interrogated, blah, blah, and like, ooh, you know, something's going on there, right? But because being with a spouse, usually you're very vulnerable, so you get triggered a lot faster by a spouse than anybody else.
Level 7, 8, 9s, 10s.
So I was going through the same thing, you know. It's like,
what do you mean? I'm just trying to be blah blah blah
blah blah blah blah, right?
Yeah.
And then one day I thought, well, that's not working. So I got in, and how's your day? You know, whatever. And I'm like, oh, what? I'm sorry that I've just upset you. What did I say? What did I do that triggered you so much and upset you? Well, you always have this look that's like judging me and blah 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 blah.
How was your day?
And I'm like, oh, I'm really sorry about that. I'll try to do better. I'll try not to do that anymore. Of course, I didn't know. It's like I wasn't, but it doesn't matter. This is their perception, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't communicating, obviously, in a way that was being received in the manner that I wanted it received. So both ways, right? It's both ways, communication. And he stopped dead in his tracks. And instead of continuing arguing, he went, yeah, that's right.
You do that.
Yeah, okay, yeah. And I said, and if I do it again, just point it out so I can identify exactly what's happening here. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I'll help. Yes. And it was over. And from that day onwards, when I would say, hey, how was your day? Fine, it's great. Oh, I had a tough day today. And it never went back to the other one. It was amazing. So that can happen too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's a matter of, again, you step out of it and you look in yourself, what is it that I'm wanting to communicate, and take ownership of that, because it's not coming through. And yes, other people's programs are kicking in, right? We don't know, we haven't, most of us, I mean, some of us have, but most of us haven't known our spouse or our loved ones or our friends for their entire life. We don't know what's triggering that, and we don't want to psychoanalyze. That's useless. Or blame them for it because of their history. It's your responsibility to engage at and have the responses from people that you choose, the responses that you want. So you need to figure it out, and you need to tweak your communication system to get the life and the responses that you want to experience.
Oh.
See? So I wanted a nice experience when my spouse walked in through the door, or I walked in through the door, I wanted a hi and all that type of stuff. That's the experience I wanted. And I had to tweak my way of communicating that in order for him to receive it. Right? And to reciprocate, to be nice. Right?
Yeah.
And it worked.
Cool.
And it worked just by stepping back and saying, oh, wait, yeah, you're right.
Basically took a little bit of responsibility.
Exactly.
For the for what's going on.
Yeah, being street smart is part of that, is taking responsibility and stepping out and becoming more aware of what's happening here. Why am I not receiving or why am I not creating what I intended in this moment? Rather than giving another person the power to dictate how you feel, you dictate how you feel, and you look in ways of doing that. Right?
Yep, it's a classic case of, why did I get what I asked for and it's not what I want?
Yes. And sometimes it's cultural, Yeah. The way you say something could mean something completely different in different countries, you know. So, yeah. Street smarts and training yourself and taking responsibility and levels of engagement and reaching that end, you know, reaching the end. We could have gone to couple therapy. We could have gone to all sorts of things, right, to get to that end of that engagement when we first saw each other after the workday. But it was just like that. It was instant, right? We could have gone either way. We're divorced. Well, not quite divorced, but we're divorced now, right? We're not together anymore. So the end product of that engagement was not a long-standing marriage, but it can certainly be, right? When we've had not that situation, but other situations where we trigger each other, we took responsibility and we did go to couple therapy and we did have conversations and we did figure it out, right? Which was a journey. And also part of that street smart was to learn how to step out of that reaction and into response. So it works, it can work either way, right? It gets to the end, right? Then for the other marriage was we weren't actually compatible and it wasn't really conducive to high frequency results, right?
Well, we're going to skip to the second hour.
Okay. So when you want to hear everything about Larry and Inelia and how they figured things out and what things we haven't figured out,
See
go
you
to the
in the
second
hour.
hour.
Give a kiss, honey.
Okay. Love you.
Love you too.